Hey everybody, this is Jeremiah at Reed Racing. It is a beautiful day outside here in snow-covered Iowa. We are up to a whopping 35 degrees, which is the warmest it's been in a couple weeks. Snow is melting, everything's going to be a sloppy mess. So now when I say it's 35 degrees here and I say that's warm, I do watch Hunt the Front. I watch those guys race the super late models down in Florida where they think 40 degrees is cold. Let me tell you, it's been 20 or less for a couple weeks now, so 40 is pretty darn warm for us. So make sure to check them out as well. They're pretty good. If you enjoy my videos, you're definitely going to enjoy theirs. So it's a beautiful day outside, and we're going to go work on the race car later. But for now, we're going to talk about a few things that you want to know before you get out on the track. This is going to be part 2 for the series for new and inexperienced drivers. So if you haven't seen part 1 of this series, where I talked about what you should know before you buy a car, I'll leave a link up in the description right here. If you learn anything in this video, or you want to follow along with our racing, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to share with your friends. It helps me out a lot and allows me to make more videos for you guys. So with that, let's get started. So in this video, we're going to talk about what to do after you've bought your first car, but before you go to the racetrack. So the first advice that I would give is once you get the car home, grab a buddy that knows what they're doing, or if you know what you're looking at, go through the car, take stuff down, take shocks off, kind of disassemble it somewhat and kind of see what you have, see if there's something that does need replaced that you didn't catch when you were looking at the car, stuff like that. This is going to help you learn how to work on the car, how to take stuff apart, put it back together that you don't know how to do already. Especially if you have somebody helping you. And if you don't, just kind of take stuff apart that you can put back together. And you're just going to have to take it apart and learn. And if you can't put it back together, find somebody who can help you put it back together. Obviously, don't go tearing your motor apart, because when you do that, you got to replace stuff when you tear, but basically just take stuff off that you can unbolt and bolt back up just to make sure that you know how to do it, make sure everything's good, make sure there's no binding, stuff like that. Doing this is also going to teach you kind of how your car is set up, or, let's say the bar is in this hole or whatever. So somebody asks you, hey, what valving is your right front shock? You say, oh, I can remember from taking that apart. It's whatever. Because if you go to ask somebody for help and they ask you a question about your car and you don't know the answer, they're not likely to help you. But if they ask you a question and you know the answer right off the top of your head, or you say, I don't know, but I can go check, then they're more willing to help you. If you just say, I don't know, and you don't know how to check it or you don't know how to find out, then they're probably not going to help you very much. They might tell you, hey, this is what you need to look at to find out that information, but they're not going to be able to help you to tell you, hey, you can move this bar this direction to help you. They won't be able to tell you that because they don't know without looking at your car, and they're not going to take time out of their day to go look at your car if they're busy at the track. So if you want help, make sure to do it before you get to the track, not at the track, because people are a lot more willing to help when they actually have time, and when they're at the track, they may not have a lot of time. So this brings me to my second point. Before you make any changes, go through and write down where everything's set up on the car. Measure your bar angles, your bar lengths, your ride heights, all that. I use Joe's Racing Products setup sheets. You can go to their website and just check those out. They're free. You can download them, print them off, whatever. I use those. I modified it just a little bit. I showed that in one of my previous videos. I'll see if I can find that and leave a link in the top corner of the video. If I do, it'll be right here. When you're writing everything down on that setup sheet, make sure to include everything you can, whether it's spring rates, shock valving, all that stuff, and any number that you can get your hands on. Because even if you don't use it later, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So if you guys need some tools, I shared some links down below for some of the stuff. The first one I'm going to talk about, I got a digital angle finder to measure the bar angles, all that kind of stuff, pinion angle. And so there's a link down below. It's got a magnetic base, so you can stick it to anything magnetic. Basically on, off. You have to have it kind of flat one way or the other. But then you're going to set it on something. Excuse the mess, but you're going to set it on something. You're going to hit that button for reference. It's going to zero it out, and then you can measure the angle of something. I think I paid like 16 bucks for this, shipped to my door. So check that out. There's a link in the description down below. You're also going to want to get a caster camber gauge eventually. You might have to borrow somebody's for a little bit, because they are a little on the expensive side. I'll leave a link down below for those. I don't even have one yet because I just haven't had, that wasn't one of my big priorities. I could borrow somebody's if I really need one. So that's kind of a little bit lower on the priority list for now. Basically, they're pretty easy to use. There's videos all over. When I get one, I can do a video on how to use it. But for now, I don't have one of those. So another thing you guys are going to need that's going to be expensive, that you might just see if somebody will let you use theirs or if they'll let you come over and use theirs, is a set of scales. They can be super expensive. I ended up buying mine like halfway through the year. I found a good used set for a really good price. Here's the set of scales I got. These are plug-in ones. So you can see the port there where you plug the cords in. And then you got the computer here. I'll have a video later on showing how to use this stuff. So if you want to check that out, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you know when that video comes out. It's pretty simple to set up, and then you can just use those. Those give you a, kind of an idea of where your car is at, so that way you can adjust from there. And then when you get it set up, you know, you go off your percentages or whatever. You try to get the same percentages on each corner of the car so that you have a common feel in the car, or even if you get a new car or whatever. So there's that. You want to get a set of those eventually. If you don't have a set of those or can't afford them at the moment, just try and find somebody that'll let you borrow theirs or let you use them or help you with scaling your car. I'm sure there's somebody out there that is willing to help. They may not loan the scales to you because they're expensive, but they may say, hey, if you come over on Saturday, we can put your car on the scales and see where it's at and help you out. So you definitely want to do that. Know where your car's at before you make any changes. It just kind of gives you an idea. A lot of the modified guys are using what they call spring smashers. I haven't messed with those yet. Eventually I'm going to learn how to do that. But scales is what a lot of sport mod guys are using, or at least that I know of the sport mod guys are using. So get a set of scales for yourself if you can. If not, find somebody who has a set that'll let you use them or help you scale your car. Another thing you'll want to get is a set of turn plates. I don't have those either. You use those when you're just setting the caster camber just so it's easier to turn the wheels. They're not a necessity, but they are something that's nice so you're not having to turn the wheels against the ground and stuff like that. There's just less friction. So I'm eventually going to get a set of those. I don't have those either. So I can't show you those, but if I find some, I'll leave a link just in the description down below. So if you see this engine in the background, this is the one I ran last year. The cylinder walls are all scored up in that, and I knew that when I put it together. We're actually going to take all the internals out of this motor and put it in that motor eventually. There'll be another video for that coming up. I'll kind of show you guys and walk through how to put a motor together as I'm doing that. Might be a couple, 2-3 videos total. So make sure to subscribe if you want to watch those. One other thing before I end this topic is, as you're taking your car apart and stuff, when you're doing it, make sure to, you know, check what parts you have. That way, if you need new parts, you can get spares before the season starts, or you can know what you need. When, you know, if you go to the parts store, you don't have to take a part with you necessarily. You already know what you need before you even get there. So just kind of pay attention as you're taking the car apart to all these different things, and make sure you get everything written down, so that way you can have an easier time in the future. So on to my next topic. Unless you know already, or someone else that you know knows what kind of setup you're looking for, don't change the setup right away on the car. I found a lot of people who changed the setup right away because they didn't feel like they could drive it very fast. And then as they got better, they ended up changing it back to where they started. Mine was kind of the same case. I changed a lot of stuff in the beginning, or had somebody who was helping me change a lot of stuff to where they thought the car should be for me. And I ended up, once I got faster and got better, most of my percentages are within 1% of each other from where the car was originally scaled at. The only thing I think I had different is I had a different right front spring in it and a different left rear spring. Not much different. 25, 50 pounds is all. But all my percentages were within 1% of where I started. So don't change the setup right away. Learn to drive it. It'll make you a better driver in the long run, because even if it's not quite right, if it's too tight or a little too loose, then you'll get used to driving a car that's a little too tight or a little too loose. So when that happens, because you guessed a little bit off on the track conditions, then you can still drive the car a little better than if it's the first time you've done it. So the next topic I want to talk about is make sure you're prepared and organized before you go to your first race. You want to make sure that you have all the tools that you need in the trailer. You want to make sure you have all the spare parts that you want to bring in the trailer. You want to make sure that everybody knows where those are in the trailer, so that if you break something and you're in a hurry, you're not having to tell people, oh, it's here, or go get it yourself, or searching for stuff because you don't even know where it's at in the trailer. Because that could be the difference between getting back on the track and making the feature, or not getting back on the track and being stuck in the pits watching. So make sure to be organized, know where everything's at, make sure everyone else knows where everything's at, make sure that all your tools are put back where they should be, stuff like that. when you're in a rush, you don't want to waste time looking for stuff. You want to know where it's at, get it, and get everything fixed so you can get back on the track. You will lose things over the course of the season. Don't get me wrong, even no matter how organized you are, you're going to lose stuff. I wasn't very organized this year and I lost a little bit, but I also was organized at times, or tried to be. I've lost my 1-inch socket that I used to take my lug nuts off. Bought a brand new set because I couldn't find just a single 1-inch lug nut for a decent price. I could buy a whole set for almost just a couple bucks more than 1-inch socket costs. So I bought a brand new set, took it to the next race. Somebody lost the 1-inch socket. So no matter how organized you are, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose that socket again, still ended up lost. I don't know where it is. Never found it, or I had to borrow one from someone. Another thing I'd recommend is for that socket you use for your lug nuts or stuff that you use most common, take your impact socket and paint that sucker bright fluorescent orange, because then you can't lose it. It's really easy to pick out the dirt, whether it's dark, whether it's light. It's a lot harder to lose a bright orange socket than it is a black socket that is made for the impacts. So paint that sucker fluorescent orange. I don't care if you got to paint it every race. It's going to be something that's going to get on your nerves if you lose that socket, because you're going to use it a lot. So another tip I want to talk about is learn the track before you go. So there's plenty of videos out there on YouTube or whatever platform you want to watch them on of different races. Just search your track that you know you're going to go to. Listen and see where they're letting off, stuff like that. Watch the fast guys' lines. See what lines they're running. Do they start on the bottom and move up top? Stuff like that. Make sure to watch to see how the track progresses. Does it start tacky and go slick? Does it stay tacky? Does it start tacky, go slick, and then rubber up? Watch multiple videos and kind of get, okay, on the average night, this track does this. And fast guys run this line. So that way you kind of know that stuff before you get there, just to get a leg up on the competition. If you go there and you've never seen the track, you don't know what lines to run, stuff like that, you're going to have a harder time, because you're going to be out there going, well, I can try this and I can try this. But around here, at least, I don't know about you guys, but when we go out for hot laps, which is our practice, we get like 3 laps. You can't learn very much in 3 laps if you don't know what don't know what you want to try already. It just kind of gives you an idea of what to expect, and that way you can have a better idea going in. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you learn anything or you want to follow along in the future, we got plenty of stuff we're doing. We're going to go do a lot of racing this summer. Hit that subscribe button below. Make sure to check out the links for all the tools and stuff that I mentioned in this video. Also, make sure to check out our partner links below. We got Underground Inc., H&R Block, Capturing Moments Photography, The Mirror Image, and Ralph's Tap. Make sure to check them out. Give their Facebook pages a like. Make sure if you do business with them, thank them for supporting us. Also, make sure to check out our Facebook and Instagram. We post a lot more up-to-date information on those platforms. All the links are down below, as long as my camera equipment that I use, stuff like that. And with that, I hope to see you guys in the next video and the next part of this series. See ya.